What up, what up? Bankroll 10 bedded up. Alright, y'all. Check out the cutty. Got that little tuck on some stocks. So look how the car sits right there, right? That's how the car sits with the 24s on it. On both these wheels and both the 24s on it. But we're gonna put the ass in just a little bit lower, and of course, coilovers. So I just gotta jack the car up in the back, stand it with two jack stands right in front of the rear end, right in the frame there in front of the control module. Leave the rear end on the jack, set it down, unbolt the two 9/16 bolts per side on the coilover, and go up or go down on the rear end side a hole or two, and that will bring the height down, and of course have the same quality of ride because you're not messing with adjusting the spring tighter to make the difference, or loosening the spring to make the difference so it sits lower. Then you got the spring bouncing around in there. If you're too low, because you're gapping the spring on the coilover, and then sometimes when people put the cars up in the air, like on a lift, the spring, you can move the spring around, it chatters, it clangs, it bangs. So that bolt-in shit, garbage. So anyways, that's what we're about to do on this thing. As you can see, the Chevelle is still sitting there because I still haven't got the seals, and I'm losing money every day because that shit's sitting there down to one lift. So got the other Cutlass, stood up over there, was able to get some time in that yesterday. But yeah, look at that clean ass cutty. Cutty. Fenders ain't pulled out all dumb in the front. It's got full turn, of course, it's frame notched, all that. Everybody that been watching how many years this car's been together, and all the work I did, and all more work that I did to make it clear more and everything. And we're gonna see if there's a rub mark anywhere now, but I know there's not. So we're gonna get these front wheels off. The back, it's got 3-inch studs, but we got a set of adapters on there, as you can see. So the one hole fits through, and then it fit the back of the rim. So you can throw a set of adapters on with 3-inch studs and be able to bolt your stocks back on. Just don't confuse your lug nuts. The front has got some spacers because the caliper is very close to the rim. One of them touches a little bit, so the car was only drove a couple blocks to put on a tow truck or wherever, moved from one spot to one spot on the tow truck, brought out here. So now big wheels are going back on it, which brand new barrels. The other ones, I think I pitted or something. And then he had the centers re-dipped, or however that goes. So originally they were way darker than this, and they were supposed to be this or something like that. I just know that they were redone, and of course, the floaters. So yeah. 7-inch lip, 24. 5'10", 11 overall. 3-inch back barrel, 7-inch front. Alright, let me get this thing jacked up in the front. Put the stand underneath of it. Safety, you know, when you're dealing with the jack that you've had for how many years. That green thing, Daytona. But alright, I'll be back, y'all. Alright. I'm back on it. So, that's how the front was on with those two shims for that wheel. And like we were saying, it rubbed the caliper just a little bit right there on the top. We could put a little touch-up paint on there, but whatever. No rub marks in the wheel well. You can see how it's inside trim on the fender. I could only find one of my other little jack stands. I couldn't find the other one. I even looked in the cabin, couldn't find it. But anyways, so got the rotor off. We got the new studs, which are in the car. I ain't like that. This is the original car. Original paint, original V6. Runs good. Look at that. It's even got the pollution pump still on it. It runs good. He's going to have some serious sounds put in it next. And then maybe this year or next year he's going to do the motor. Not sure which way he wants to go with the motor yet. Anyways, the 2A1 studs. Why they sent them individual, I don't know. But we got 10 new studs. We're replacing them all. So of course we'll take the rotor apart to get the stud out because there's not enough room there. Gotta take the 5 center ones off, take the hub off, take the studs out, put the new studs in. Obviously this is the 4 3/4 pattern. And these other ones right here are the 4 1/2 pattern. So you guys out there, when you go to put your own kit together, do it yourselfers, or try to do it for the first time, double check and make sure you're on your 4 3/4 hole. And yeah, make sure you're on the 4 3/4 hole. And if you're doing axles with a narrowed rear end, stuff like that, you could do 2 different bolt patterns with a screw-in stud axle to where you have a 4 1/2 and 4 3/4 bolt circle on the back axle. So that way, if you ever ended up with a set of wheels that were 4 1/2 bolt circle, you know, you run into a deal, somebody's got a deal, whatever, then you could just take this apart, take your studs out of this hole, put it in this hole. Same thing with the back. Take the wheel off, your rotor off, take the stud out, put it in another hole. And then you could, you know, put 4 1/2 bolt circle. Then you could always switch back to 4 3/4. Just saying, there's options out there for stuff like that. Think ahead, pay a couple dollars more to save you a lot overall. But yeah, so let me get the tools on this little bullshit table so I can take this shit apart. Look at that, rotor's not, this rotor's been drove and drove and drove. This car's been together, what, 4 years, 5 years? 2 years, 3 years, whatever. Somebody's probably gonna correct me on that, but look. And notice again, you guys, this is the driver's side front, right? Look at the arrow. Look at the vent lines. That's to pull air into the hub to cool it. So when you see all the other brands out there that have the air or this going the other way, and they got a sticker on it saying left and right, somebody put the stickers on the wrong side. But there you go, that arrow. Left front, arrow, top, faces forward, not bottom, facing back. Smart guys. Bet that up. I'll be right back. All right. So, got the hub off the rotor. 3 studs came out, no problem. Loctite, you can see there was Loctite, plenty of Loctite. These 2, they only go so far and then they stop. So instead of messing the threads up in here, I'm gonna take the cutoff wheel. I'm gonna cut both these studs off. You know, right there, you know, that one's catching inside there. So hopefully this hole is not jacked up, but it's still got, I mean, it's still tight and fine. But make sure you Loctite, which, like I said, there's plenty of Loctite on them. They never backed out. They just being off, on. And here's the other thing that I want to show. Just because a lug nut is brand new doesn't mean it's perfect. Look at this lug nut. But here's what's funny. See it turning? Turns on the stud just fine, but it's crooked. It's funny, right? But sometimes with brand new lug nuts, they're made so damn cheap that the inside threads will be messed up on here. So when you go to put the lug nut on, and these guys that like to try to do NASCAR style shit where they put the lug in the socket and they just run it on, always put your lug nuts on the stud first by hand. Even if you gotta go, if you want to go all the way to the rim by hand, then put your ratchet, your torque wrench, your impact, whatever on it then. But these, like I said, the wheels have been on and off the car so many times, and this car switched up from one set of 24s to another set of 24s, and the studs just got, you know, ate up. And then of course, once you go on and you hear it get a little tight, and you decide, it'll clean up, and you go a little more, then it tightens, and then you try to back it off. That's when you run into that. This one over here must have just been a burr of the threads on a new lug nut, and decided to tear up into there and lay. All it's got to take is one of these threads to get laid over on the lug nut or the stud, vice versa, to come out, to come off, whatever. So, but yeah, all right. We get the cutoff wheel over here, get those cut off and out of there, put the new ones in, and I got the Loctite over here in this mess somewhere. Yeah, see? Uh-oh. I think I got another bottle around here somewhere. But yeah, Loctite. Make sure, put the Loctite on there. Bet that up. Be right back. All right, back at it. Got the left front rotor all on there. Got the spindle shaft knocked down. I'm not using a cotter key. I paused because I want you to think, oh, you didn't put a cotter key? You gotta have a cotter key. Oh, no shit. Okay. So, these floating caps, this rim, Amani, whatever, doesn't have a little step to it, so it sits out more. So you end up running into the spindle shaft issues. So I was able to snug the rotor just a little bit more. I could still spin it with my hand, so it's not gonna seize the bearing. Still got plenty of grease on it. What I did was, before I had ground, you know what, I got this side apart. See, I don't mind showing everything. I don't hide nothing. All right, so this side ended up clearing, right? But you can see I ground the shaft down, but I left to where the cotter key's in there, so it would hold the nut, so the nut could never come off. And then with the wheel on here and the center cap, obviously it's never gonna come loose enough to spin this cotter key to push the center cap off the wheel. Well, what had happened on the other side, the floating cap would sometimes stop. So it was, I noticed the spindle shaft on that side, I had a little bit of it, this side cleared perfect, but it had a little bit of an edge to it. Well, it almost fell. Almost tripped. I'm always tripping on shit. That time would have been because of my DeWalt gun. So the left side ended up losing a spinner, or a floating cap, the outside of the cap, because how the caps go together, they got that screw in the back. Well, the screw had touched a couple times, and left side, right side, you know, like knockoffs, spokes, that side had caught a couple times, and it loosened the screw on the back of the floater, and it sent it flying. Dude didn't know when it came off or anything, but he was out rolling in the city towards the end of last year after I worked on it, and he noticed when he got back. But anyways, so what I just did to that side is, I know this side clears, but still, I took that side, put it one little turn tighter, and I drilled just a little bit into the spindle shaft, and I tack welded. So that way, if I ever need to change it, I just cut the tack weld and take the nut off. But there's really no reason to ever have to change it unless you run into some major issues. So the tack weld down there, the tack weld's gonna hold. But every other wheel, company and all that stuff out there, even these MTWs right here, how the center cap pops out. Look how the center cap pops out. So that's gonna clear the spindles. So it only needs like 3/16 more clearance, you still got to lose the wheelwood dust cap. How somebody's gonna be like, oh, you gotta have the dust cap, oh, this and that, you're gonna get dirt and everything there. When the wheel goes on here, the wheel seals to the hub. Yeah, you got these little holes right here, but you're hub centric basically, so you seal here. So where's the dirt and debris gonna come from? And the wheel has the floating cap with the O-ring on it. So where's the dirt and debris gonna come from to get in there? That's just dirty like that for me changing it and doing the stuff I have done to it plenty of times. And I work in a dirty environment. Anyways, to let you guys know some info and to show how I do it and how I've done it for years and stuff like that. Sometimes it works 100%. Sometimes it works 99%. So I'm not perfect, but these wheel companies and everything that's going on, I mean, come on, make just a little bit, make the floating cap just a little bit thicker, or make the inside guts of the cap just a little bit thinner or something like that. Test fit them on cars. So why should you have to put a wheel spacer, a wheel shim of 3/16 or 1/8 inch or whatever, 1/4 inch to clear that? Then your studs end up getting a little shorter and lug nut problems and this and that. Then your wheel's hitting up here more or hitting here more because the wheel sits out more. A lot of things come into play, and wheel companies will tell you, oh yeah, they're made for a G-body. Then, oh yeah, they clear everything. You bolt them on the back, you're hitting the back part of the frame. You bolt them on the front, you're hitting this or that or whatever. So, that's something to think about. I try to teach. But alright, let me get this rotor off and get the studs switched on it, and I'll be back with a little more info. Bet that up. Right back. I'm back. Alright, this side fought with me a little bit on getting the hub nut off. The way I ground the spindle shaft before, once I had a little bit of threads, like half the threads that's still there. So when the nut was coming off, I wanted to fight, so I had to keep walking it on, off, and then I used the grinder to ground the lip off, got it off. I changed the studs, so got all the old studs right here. Obviously some of them are still all right, but those two are definitely junk, but the rest of them are all right. The passenger side, I think, only had one. That one, maybe this one. But anyways, we're not trusting that crap no more. The car's got a little bit of weight off the front right now because the car's sitting down. I started it and turned the wheels back and forth, left and right to set it, but you know, this car sets lower than that. All right, I'm gonna change the battery real fast. Change the battery real fast and get the car turned around so I can jack it up. Dude's on his way to get it. Obviously we know it works. Car worked before. I tried to clean up the rotors and the calipers as best I could, but I mean, my hands, all the grime I just had to work with. But this is a daily driven car in the summer. Daily driven. A little bit of wet weather, but not a lot. But it's been driven a lot since it's been put together. Yeah, you can see the wheels are leaning a little bit because of the weight. This one, we're still gonna put the Pro Forged steering components on this one. That's on a later date. So the front idler arm showing a little play in it, but we are planning on doing it anyways. And we're going to frame brace this one like I did the other one, the tan one. So some things in the works to look forward to on this build. Continuing to build it and do more things to it. He said he changed headlights before and didn't like them, but I don't know because I've always seen that headlight. But it does. I think it needs another set of headlights, a different, different set, different style. But my opinion. The 10 is only, I think, 35%, which is nice. Some people nowadays like the clear windows. I like the tint, light tint. That might be a little dark, but it's dark where the car is sitting. So All right, let me get this ass in, or let me get the battery changed. I'll be back, and by that time, I should have the back wheels on it. Better not be right back. All right, there it is. Went down one hole in the back on the coilovers, the gold brackets, and there was a little rub mark on the back corner of this tub. Very, very light. So when I put the wheels back on it, all the adapters and stuff, the shims that were on there, I put a 5mm, or maybe it said 8mm shim on both back wheels because of where the rub was, probably from an incline or, you know, going to a gas station and driveway turning. But I know this car cleared before with a 1/2 inch of spacing on the back with this wheel. So now with the 8mm, 5mm, whatever, boom, it should be fine. And then the car is, like, again, the car's going to get sounds put in it, so the trunk's going to get done. I think there's going to be a battery back there, stuff like that. So I gotta go down a little bit more. The front right now is actually, it's staying up. I mean, well, we just had the ass end jacked up. We had the jack stands in front of the rear tire, and hung the rear end, so then the weight kind of lifted. We started it, turned the steering wheel back and forth a couple times. Battery got changed, but it just looks like the wheels are, you know, cambered a little bit. Anyways, yeah, 7-inch look. Like I said, these fenders ain't pulled out all done, but yeah, it's got some camber to it, which maybe the front end just hasn't settled yet. So doesn't need to be test drove. Dude's coming to get it anyways. We should be here in a minute. But yeah, he's had it paint correction. Obviously keeps it clean as hell. I think he's doing a new top too, but I do believe he's talking about painting it, maybe putting a pearl over it or something. But now you can see those wheels. What's it say on the back? It says rose gold over chrome is what it says on the back. So what they were last time, or if they were last time, or maybe the shade was just too dark last time and now it's the lighter shade that he wanted. I don't know which way that stuff goes, but we've all seen it. If you pay attention to a lot of cars, you'll see maybe in the golds and stuff like that. You hear a lot of people talk about it too, from one set of rims to the next set of rims, depending on how the coating, you know, however it's dipped. You know, who knows how much was in that bath at that time when the plate went in there. I don't know. I don't do wheels and stuff, so, but chrome and this and that, and obviously with candy paints and stuff, and you put a silver base down, you make the paint brighter, you put a gold base down, you make it deeper or some shit. Darker the base, the darker the lighter, obviously. But anyways, there it is. It looks good. It looks real good. 7-inch lip, 24s. Again, no mini tub. Obviously, when I say no mini tub, it's no mini tub. I didn't mini tub it. I tap on the tub, tap, smooth it out. You can see the videos on that too. But you can't do a 7-inch lip without narrowing. So when I say no mini tub with 7-inch lips, you know, I mean, there's still a narrow. You have to narrow because how deep the rim is. So again, 24 by 10, 11 inches overall, a 7-inch front barrel, a 3-inch back barrel, and then how it spreads out makes it 11 overall. But by 10 fits right up underneath there. You see how low it is? Quarter rail frame notch in the back, and then I notched in front of the back tire, which that video shows that too. All right, y'all. I'm outies. Bet that up, y'all. I'm gonna try to keep these videos going. I'm out.